Hello, I'm Daniel, and welcome to my YouTube channel. We here at the channel are continuing in our series of videos with respect to information, education, guidance, advice. And in the repetition, along with the repetition of the Ten Commandments in Deuteronomy, we get to Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5. This is the Shema, the first paragraph of the Shema that we say it's central to the Jewish faith. And the first line of the first paragraph is the Shema. V'havta es HaShem Elokecha v'kol levavcha uv'kol nafshecha uv'kol meodecha. With all your heart, b'kol levavcha, lev is a heart. Uv'kol nafshecha, nefesh is a soul, with all your soul. And uv'kol meodecha, meod, it's with all your, some people say all your might. It's really all your possessions, your wherewithal, everything you got. And throughout the millennia, the Creator has tested the Jewish nation, has challenged us all collectively as a nation, as well as individuals. We have been subject to many ordeals, often cruel and inhuman, and we've survived. We're going through one right now. We will survive. At last count, the death rate in the United States from the virus has exceeded the death rate in the Vietnam War. But getting back to the posuk of Kol Meodecha, a lot of people are saying, well, what does this mean? All your possessions, with everything you got, am I supposed to go broke? Am I supposed to give all my money away? And there's a story of Rabbi Yitzhak of Berditchev. And it was, we're going to start Yom Kippur, Kol Nidre services. Huge crowd assembled in the Berditchever's shul, and the saintly Rav Yitzhak of Berditchev was preparing to usher in the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. And it's time for Kol Nidre, it's time for things to start. Everyone's there, everyone's ready to go. And Rabbi Yitzhak motions to the chazan, to the cantor, just to wait a while. It's not quite ready to begin Kol Nidre. Minutes pass, congregation starts to whisper, what's holding up the Rebbe? I mean, what's going on? Rabbi Yitzhak turns to his shamash, his attendant, and says, is a certain Reb Motel from a certain village here? The shamash looks around. He notices Reb Motel in the back. Tells the Rebbe that indeed Reb Motel's here. We can go. Rebbe Levi Yitzhak, he says, ask him to come here. The gabbai goes down, gets Reb Motel, brings him up to the front. And when Reb Motel comes up to Rabbi Levi Yitzhak of Berditchev, Rabbi Levi Yitzhak begins to question him. Tell me, don't you live in a certain land owned by a certain Gentile by the name of so-and-so? And Reb Motel goes, yeah. And Rabbi Levi Yitzhak says, does he own a dog? And the Motel says, yes, he owns a very fine dog. He has no idea what Rabbi Levi Yitzhak's talking about. And why is he's going to be asking questions? And why is he asking him on Kol Nidre with a whole shul waiting? Rabbi Levi Yitzhak continues. Do you happen to know how much money this Gentile landowner of yours, or your landlord, paid for the dog? And Motel says, actually, I do. It's a special dog, a certain distinguished pedigree, it's a certain particular breed. He paid 400 rubles for this dog. An outrageous sum for anything, let alone a dog. Huge sum of money. Hearing the amount, Rabbi Levi Yitzhak was thrilled. And he exclaims, 400 rubles, that's fantastic. He quickly summoned for the chazan, the cantor, to begin Kol Nidre service and the prayer to usher in Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Not surprisingly, everyone who was privy to this entire episode was bewildered. What's going on? Why would the Rebbe care about a dog? What difference does it make how much the guy paid for the dog? I mean, anyways, after Marv, Yom Kippur's over, everything's fine. So a close group of the Rebbe's disciples gathered around him and worked up the courage to ask them, Rebbe, what's with the dog? He related to them the following incident. A teacher, a tutor, a very poor man, came to our town this past year to earn enough money tutoring to repay the debts that he had accumulated in his hometown. After a while, he earned up the money to pay his debts and still have sufficient funds to support his family well into the coming year. On the way home, he stops at an inn. And guess what happened? He was careless with his money, and the next thing you know, his little sack with the 400 rubles, gone. Stolen. He wakes up the next morning to discover the terrible thing had occurred, and he became hysterical. He was screaming and crying. He was crushed. Months and months of his hard work, his labor in gathering this money is lost forever. Motel's Gentile landowner was staying at the same inn. And upon hearing the tutor's wailing, he inquired about the commotion. He listened to the tutor, the melamed, broken-heartedly relating the entire story, how he had worked hard months to pay off the debt, support his family, and now it was all gone. The landowner was a Gentile, Ukrainian guy, was moved by the story. After hearing how much the money the tutor lost, he took out 400 rubles, the amount had been stolen, gave it over to the melamed, gave it to the tutor, boom, immediately, didn't even bat an eye. So the Rebbe Levi Yitzhak, he's telling the story now to his Hasidim. He says, as we were about to begin Kol Nidre, I became concerned about this episode and its far-reaching effect on us as we stand in judgment before HaShem. Do we deserve that HaShem should look at us favorably? Let us ask ourselves, are we deserving of his favor? Did any of us do any unusual act of chesed, of kindness, that would stand in our behalf, that would be evidence on our behalf against the court of justice upstairs? If a Gentile, not a holy person, not a Jew, just some guy, some simple landowner, could commit such an exemplary act of kindness, Jews should do no less. How can we say that we did this? Then I remembered the dog. This dog for which the Gentiles paid so much money. When I discovered that he spent 400 rubles on a dog, on a simple pet, it indicated to me that this Gentile either is very wealthy, or he doesn't really value money the way it should be valued. He doesn't regard it very highly. Thus, while the act of giving the tutor 400 rubles was clearly a remarkable act of chesed, it didn't represent an act of great sacrifice on the Gentile's part. The man who can spend so much money on a dog doesn't really appreciate the value of money the way that tutor did. It didn't mean to him what it meant to the tutor, to the poor person. And that's why Rebbe Levi Yitzhak held up Kol Nidre to find out the details about the dog. Because he says, if this guy is kinder than we are, we're not in good shape going into Yom Kippur. We're going to be doing more stories about the great Hasidic leaders and the lessons they teach us. Please come back. Please watch, please learn. And until next time, I'm Daniel, and thank you too much.